Hey everybody, it is John, the hometown historian. I am here today on Friday, September 24th. This is vlog number 5. I just want to give you an update on what videos are upcoming because I actually have a backlog, which is nice. As a lot of you know, like I've had different issues with my feet, my back and neck had gone out, so a lot of the videos are a little shorter. I had some requests about doing some driving videos, which we are finally getting some of those done. They are going to be, and I think I said it in the video as well, these are going to be the first attempts. I'm going to add some music. It's just a matter of figuring out what's the right way to do it to make it the most interesting and enjoyable viewing experience for all you guys. So this is the last video I probably will be doing with my phone, and then we will be going over to this bad boy. It has the microphone, external microphone there. It's just a matter of, it's a pretty simple thing. Video wise, it's just a matter of making sure I'm doing it correctly. So this will be used from here on out. It has a better wide angle. It has the sound capture that we've all been wanting. There's a couple of my videos which I'm not quite sure what's going on, if it's something with YouTube or what, because I can definitely tell myself like some of the sound quality is not that fantastic on some of them, but I can still hear myself. But some of you are having trouble actually even hearing me, so I do apologize for that. I don't know if sometimes my hand is on somewhere on the phone that it's covering the microphone. I know I've had a couple of times with the lick video, there are some issues with the wind sort of catching the microphone just right where it was a little loud and sort of covering up what I was saying. I know I had that one time on the Hill Lutheran Church video at the Stover Memorial. It was nuts. It was right before a storm started, so that was probably part of it, but you could barely hear me. Sorry for that. But I want to give you a heads up about that. The only thing I will be videoing with this phone yet is I'm going to be doing a series called Under a Minute Hometown History. That's what I'm going to do partially on the YouTube Shorts. I'm going to go, like, my first one's going to be the John Palm Memorial in Palmyra. That is a memorial that I think it was like the 200th anniversary of either Washington's death or birth. I'm really not sure. I got to look at it and make sure what that is. But it's just a simple memorial, but I got to do everything in under 60 seconds. I tried to do that Sadison's Lutheran Church, the historical markers, which I think some of the historical markers I could maybe get away with 60 seconds. But I sort of also like the format a little bit, that I think it could be useful to do I had done a video earlier on Sadison's Lutheran Church. This was just on the historical marker and then the prevalent thing, which was Peter Sadison's grave. So I think that's something that could work really, really well, doing like 2 to 3 minute videos there. And the YouTube Shorts would be primarily that under a minute hometown history, and then have that as a series, and maybe it's something that brings some more attention to the channel. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I think it'll be a cool little thing that people can have fun with. And then I'll do things like nature filming, that type of stuff that I'll put on that I think you'll find enjoyable. I want to do all kinds of different things with this channel. A number of viewers have said about how they were interested in some driving videos. I do have those first ones coming out. I think I said earlier here just a few minutes ago. It is going to be sort of we go through it as we go. Some of them will be adventure drives. Some of them will be that country roads take me home. Some of them maybe I'll drive through towns, because that seemed to be pretty popular with the drive home from Jim Thorpe through Tamaqua, Summit Hill, some of those other ones. Which, talking Summit Hill, I had done the Blue-Eyed Six video. Cliff and I are talking about doing another collab where we do something on the what do they call it again? Wow, I just had a complete brain fart there. The Molly McGuires. I don't know why. I was like, it's something double M. But the Molly McGuires was a really, really sad story. Some coal workers wanted to unionize, and basically the coal boss set them up. Now, one of them potentially was involved with the murder of this one gentleman in Summit Hill, but the rest of them were certainly, I think it was 7, and they basically got railroaded because they were the ones trying to put together the unionizing efforts, and they all got hung. And 2 of them, the last 2, were actually the governor of Pennsylvania put a stay on it, but the sheriff or whoever the head of the jail was wouldn't let the messenger through, so they still got hung. So it was just every aspect of the trial, the conviction, even them just like getting arrested and that type of stuff, was all run basically privately. It was horrible. Like it was. I got a book on it. Cliff and I are going to do a bunch of research of a lot of the people. I think in the book it tells you where they're buried, and then I'll find out where the last two are buried of the seven that they didn't have listed, and we'll do sort of like the Blue Eyed Six again. But it is a really intriguing story. And when we go back up to Jim Thorpe, because I do want to do some more videos on Jim Thorpe because there's just so much to see up there. I've had a lot of fun doing different things. I'm trying to sort of split things up. So upcoming videos. Tomorrow is going to be the story of Harrison Charter. It's a really weird name, but like he only part of him is buried in this cemetery. I think it's a Jonestown Reformed and Old Cemetery. And it was originally, I guess, there was a lot of Lutheran and Reformed churches were together, and then they have a huge Lutheran cemetery in another part of Jonestown, Pennsylvania. But it's a really interesting story. I go through that cemetery. We do find where the part of him is buried. It's not marked, unfortunately, which would have made it a lot cooler, but it is obviously this part of him is buried in between his mother and father. But anyways, it's an interesting story. It's a cool cemetery. It has a couple Revolutionary War soldiers. And it was just one of those things. Cliff had told me this story, and then I did a bunch of research with the Jonestown Historical Society, which, like, there's not a ton to the story, but it's still a pretty cool story. So I hope you enjoy it. And then on, I believe it's Sunday, will be the start of my next group of videos, because I was able to go out on Wednesday and do a total of 7 videos. 3 of them were driving. The other ones were pretty short walking, so they got some length to them, but there's some pretty cool places that I was not originally planning on filming, but some stuff I just found along the way. One of the things I was told about a cemetery, a Revolutionary War and Early Settlers Cemetery by Roger, who's one of the viewers, and I was able to stop there. I had gone by this forever, and I think I glanced at it out of the corner of my eye at times, but had never put 2 and 2 together. But I happened to see it when I was going down, because one of the road trips I was going to do, I did between my house in Greenpoint when I was a kid to my grandfather's house in Pine Grove, because it's a really pretty drive. And I saw it, I was like, I think we're going to go back there and check it out. And I want to do a video on that. But anyways, I'm going to probably do one of the driving videos then on Sunday, which I'm going to probably do. The one is called A Drive to Grandpa's House. And I go from Greenpoint, Pennsylvania, from where I had lived for the first 20-some years of my life. And it was the same drive, nostalgic drive, that we took on a lot of Saturdays to my grandpa's house. My dad and my mom would take us out there, and it was just a blast. And it's just a really pretty drive. I talk about the different things that were along the way, those types of things. And then I go the whole way, after I go by where my grandfather had lived, I go down to Ravine where they had, originally my dad and his sister, they had lived, and my Aunt Ruth had lived there as well. And I actually, another huge shout out and thank you to Jay and Rebecca. They had said for a while, get the Find a Grave app. I had actually, with all this COVID stuff, you don't have a lot of contact with people. I found out my Aunt Ruth, my dad's sister, his only sibling, had passed away last year, because I went looking for the Lutheran Church Cemetery, because I thought, well, I might go down and visit my Uncle Ernest's grave. He had died very early in life, and really don't have a whole lot of memories of him as a kid. But I remember he's a real jovial sort of guy, and my Aunt Ruth absolutely adored him. And I was like, I want to go visit his grave. And I also wanted to visit my grandma, Eva Miller, my dad's mom. I wanted to visit her grave because I never knew her. She passed away in 1975 from a brain tumor, which is about 4 years before I was buried. Buried. Thank God I wasn't buried. I was born. And it was actually right before my sister was born, too. And there was a cool moment that was with her, because she had like a brain tumor and had become non-responsive. And when my parents told her, she responded. And it was just a really neat thing, because she was this extraordinary woman. Never got to know either of my grandmothers, but there was sort of a personal journey after that video, the drive to Grandpa's house, and then went down to Ravine to the World War II memorial to remember my dad and his friends that are on that memorial. I went over to the St. Matthew's Lutheran Church's cemetery, found my aunt and my uncle's grave. Also found my grandma's grave, And then I also found my great grandpa Brown, who my dad, that was basically, his relationship with his dad was sort of rough. And his grandpa Brown was sort of his father figure in life and taught him a lot about life, and never got to meet him either. He had died, I believe, shortly after his daughter, my grandmother Eva, had passed away. But I never got to know him or his wife, but I got to visit their grave, was right there as well. It's sort of cool, as all in the same spot, and then her Eva's brother as well is buried there. So it's pretty neat moment. Little sad as well because I never got to say goodbye to my Aunt Ruth, and it's just sort of talking a little bit as well about if you have a loved one, don't lose any kind of chance. It's like my mom's in a home right now, and like I think it was over a year. She had to go in the home last May. She had fallen again, and she just decided she didn't want to walk anymore because she had such a fear of falling. And at that point, my sister and I, was beyond our capability of taking care of her. And then not to be able to touch my mom, because we always had this funny poking game where I'd poke her and stuff like that when she was not watching. And I absolutely love and adore my mom. My mom's everything to me. And to not be able to touch her and in person tell her that I love her is such a hard thing. You talk to her as much as you can and do what you can in that regard, but you're just sort of constrained within the system. I think it's pretty horrible. I understand why they do it, but I think it's also pretty harsh for these older folks that really thrive on the human contact of their loved ones and aren't able to have that in a lot of ways. So it's a shame, but you gotta, it is what it is. But anyway, I sort of talk about that. It's sort of more personal video. Sort of, the Outwood one was more family history than personal. But this was sort of, it was cool to finally be able to touch something tangible, to have that connection, if you will, with my grandmother. And then with my great grandfather, I have pictures of him. I have all these stories about him. Part of the Boys of the Fallen Sun, the Risen Moon, the book that I'm writing, that series, is based off of his stories as well. So it was a cool, surreal experience, but I really do appreciate Jay and Rebecca. Sometimes I need to be pushed and prodded a little bit to do something, but it has been a great tool. And to be able to find that and to be able to find some of these loved ones. At some point in Millersburg, I want to go to see my grandfather, Walborn, and my grandmother, Helen, because I never got to meet her either because she died of leukemia when my mother was a senior in high school. So, but she was apparently an extraordinary woman. And my mom and her two brothers were extraordinary people. I'd like to visit my Uncle Art's. My Uncle Jim's, unfortunately, was buried out in Arizona. But I absolutely adored my Uncle Jim. And I adored my Uncle Art. It's such great memories. I eventually want to do a driving video as well where I go over Gold Mine Mountain to Tower City. Because it was always sort of a magical time. At Christmas time, we'd go to my Uncle Art's and Althea's and spend Christmas with my cousins, Doug and Cindy, and my second cousins, Teddy and Tiffany. And absolutely adore all of them. And those times going to see them, it's just one of those magical things from childhood that you look back on so fondly. And it's going over that mountain when it was dark and seeing the lights, especially at Christmas time. It's just such a neat thing. So I'd like you guys to experience as well. So on Sunday is going to be that first driving video, which is going to be a drive to Grandpa's house. Then I'm going to probably do, in order probably, I'm going to do the one with the family at St. Matthew's Lutheran Church. Like I said, in a little way, it's a little downer. It's a little emotional for me because, you do what you will. The last 10 years was really bad for me. And sort of what brought me out of it was almost losing my foot and my leg. And it sort of got me thinking again and got me believing in humanity again. And it's another thank you. Like, this channel has been such a great experience and a confidence builder for me as well, because Cliff went through the same thing, and you just sort of, you go into this and you're sometimes your harshest critic, and then hearing people give you the positive feedback and let you know we do appreciate what you do, believe me, it means a lot. And it's just the learning experience as well, getting to know all this new history that's just right around the corner is so neat. So that'll be the video on Monday, St. Matthew's Lutheran Cemetery, where my family is buried, and getting to be there for the first time at a number of their graves. And it is, in essence, a way of saying goodbye to my Aunt Ruth, who I absolutely loved. And she's in heaven with my dad now. So, and with Ernest and her mom and her grandfather Brown and grandmother Brown. So, but anyways, then Monday, that was Monday, and then Tuesday will be the next driving video, which that one is over the mountain and back again. I go on 501 over the Blue Mountain. That's where the Vista video, which I just dropped today, that I go by that exactly. And there's actually another video I wanted to do right before the Vista video, but it was just a little dark and I'd never been back there. Cliff had just done a video on it. It's called Pilgeroo. It's from 1742. It's actually, the spring is much older now, like thousands of years old, because it was the Chappahalcan Path, which the Indians used to come over the mountain. It went up, I think, from Womelsdorf, Pennsylvania, the whole way up to Sunbury, so it's a distance. And one of the most significant Moravian missionaries, Count Zinzendorf, that's a name for you. He named this thing Pilgeroo, which is German, but in English, it actually stands for Pilgrim's Rest. And he did that journey with Conrad Weiser, who is an extraordinary individual, which eventually I'd like to go over where Cliff did the Conrad Weiser homestead. I'd like to do a video there as well. It's going to be a bit of a repeat of what Cliff did on his video, because I'd like to give a lot of the same information because of how important this man was. But I'd like to do that sometime. But I think it was partially a Moravian missionary journey, but it was also a diplomatic journey, because Conrad Weiser knew a lot of the Indians' languages. So he would go, and especially with the Shawnee, which they were going to see, were part, I believe, of Iroquois Nation. And as a child, Conrad Weiser had been sent to be with Indians to learn their ways and their languages, because this father thought it would be very beneficial to have someone who knew their ways and that the Indians and Native Americans trusted and who was trustworthy. And he did a lot for the Native Americans and for the settlers. So cool place that I did that video as well. But trying to catch Tuesday would be that one, over the mountain, and I go down past where Cliff had used to live and go over to Route 65 and come back over the mountain. It's a pretty neat drive. So then on Wednesday, that will be the Revolutionary War Cemetery. It says it's like the old Lutheran church, but the Lutheran church that's there now is called St. Peter's. What it was named at that time, I don't know, if it was just the Lutheran church in Pine Grove, but it's all like Revolutionary War veterans. The first settler in the area of Pine Grove is buried there. They have a stone that actually says it. It's a pretty neat cemetery. So we do that, then I believe that's on Wednesday. Thursday will then be the third driving video, which is going to be the first of the Country Roads Take Me Home. Now, I'm going to try to add music to these just to make them more enjoyable and stuff like that. I do have silent pauses in there. I'm just testing out to see how these things work, because it'll be a little different between the adventure ones where we just go on our adventures and whatnot and have fun with it, and then the ones where we just ramble out on the country roads and see what we find. And that was what that video is. And then the last one on Friday is going to be the Pilgeroo video, which is another one of those short ones. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go out filming a whole lot this weekend, other than maybe do some of these historical marker videos, which I think I am going to do a series of 2 to 3 minute videos on those, because it seemed to have done well, and I think the shortness of it is good. It's a little bit of different change of pace, and those ones I will drop on the same day that I drop a video, because they're so short. And then the same thing when I do the YouTube Shorts videos, which will be the under a minute hometown history. I'm going to see how that works, because I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. But my next video that I do will be with the new camera. So hopefully we see a bunch of differences in there. I think the big one is the sound quality, hopefully with the new microphone. I just got to make sure I'm picking things up with it, because I haven't really tested it yet. And then I will also be... it has the battery power and it has the storage power. I'm going to pick up that Animoca app so I can actually start professionally editing my videos. I also have a friend named Kurt who does a lot of photography. That's what he does. So he's going to help me out as well. He's offered his services up as well, which I'm very thankful for, because I'm going to need that. I do want to have these eventually where they're almost documentary style and sort of make my own style with it, but I want to be able to add pictures. I want to be able to add, so when I'm doing narrating or talking, I can actually have pictures pop up there and then have my narrating as well. So it's not like you just looking at me like this now, but I actually have some different stuff there. I'm also going to be getting a P.O. box hopefully here in the next week or so. So I'm going to have that available, and in the descriptions and that type of stuff, I'll start having the intro and outro to the videos. After the last Friday video, hopefully that'll start, and also have all that stuff. We just hit 400 subscribers, so we're a little over 40% of the way to the 1,000 subscribers, and we just hit over 2,000 watch hours, which is over 50% of the way to the watch hours that we need to become a YouTube patron channel. Which means, unfortunately, you will be seeing ads at that point. I'm going to try to keep them at the front and the back because I hate them in the middle as well. But that is the way that I do eventually make this into hopefully a career, which I really would enjoy. So, and with my issues, it's like being able to do something like this as a job would be fantastic. So we will figure out what's going to happen. And then once we do get closer to that 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 hours, which I think the 4,000 hours we will probably hit sometime at the end of October. The subscribers is going to take a little longer, which is partially why I'm looking at the YouTube Shorts thing. I'm looking for any ways that I can do, like, put more noise out there about my channel and hopefully get more people subscribing and say, hey, just check us out. It's a cool family, a lot of fun, and hopefully we can go from there and we can figure some stuff out with this, and we'll get up to some more adventure and whatnot, and we will see you all about town. Thanks, everybody.